Hi, my name's Jim Rawcliffe and I run the bait company Moretakes. Now some of you may have noticed that on our logo it says Moretakes, a better bait, and I thought that maybe I'd take this opportunity to explain to you why we believe that. Well, for a start, I've been making bait for something in the order of approaching 50 years. That's pretty scary. Of course it wasn't boilies in those days. The first baits we put together were things like using kitty cat, ground trout pellets and other ingredients like that, making a paste up and then dipping them into hot gelatine. Now this put a skin on the outside of the baits, and of course we were trying to stop bream and roach from completely annihilating those baits, and that's how that came about. We then moved on to using a few more cooking skills and realised that if we added eggs to the paste, we could roll it out into hand-rolled sausages, chop it up, put it in a pan of boiling water, and that would give us the skin that we'd been looking for a long time. So in the late 80s, armed with 20 years worth of using a variety of ingredients, I decided to enter the commercial production of boilies and started the company Tails Up. And I think the quality and theory behind those baits proved itself, because over the 10 or 12 years, whatever it was that I ran Tails Up, literally thousands and thousands of carp were caught using those baits. Anyway, very sadly, after those 10 or 12 years, I had to pack up because of ill health and spent 10 years out there not making bait. Anyway, I'm very glad to say that I'm now back in full health and have been running Moretakes now for 4 years. Okay, so let's get into the technical side of a Moretakes bait a little bit more. Now clearly I'm not going to give you a recipe for how to make our bait, but I am going to show you some of the ingredients that we use and tell you about some of the ingredients we don't use because I don't think they're good enough. Now to me, the most important thing is to provide the highest quality bait to give to a fish, because if you're in a syndicate or you're in a club lake, surely the most important thing to you is to keep those fish in the best condition to help them grow, and then eventually those 20s will become 30s and those 30s may become 40s and bigger. Okay, the first product I'm going to bring to your attention, I don't know if you can see that, but that's called Soya Isolate. Now personally, I have never used full fat soya flour. I know it's a very cheap ingredient, it's a great thing to bulk baits out, but the protein levels are low in comparison to this, which the one we're using at the moment is 89% protein. It's unbelievably high in protein. Of course the cost is unbelievable too, but I think that's a much better way to increase the quality, certainly in the protein levels of bait. Okay, the next product I want to show you is whey protein concentrate. The particular one I've got here is 79% protein. Of course, just like the Soya Isolate, this is also for human consumption. We do not use animal milks, lamb lac, any of those kind of things, and we don't use animal feed soya. Okay, here's one for the aficionados. I know a lot of people making bait at home like to use this, but it's £15 a kilo retail. This is pure liver powder. You can't get anything better. This obviously goes into our Protein liver, just like it used to go into my original Protovit liver, and it really is a very, very special product. Okay, I guess by now you're getting an idea of the sort of things that I like to put into baits and the reasons why, so I won't bore you anymore except to show you this last one, which is our Yester Bee complex. Now we don't sell this. It's basically a human grade dried brewer's yeast with a couple of extra bits and pieces. I'm not going to tell you what, obviously, but this is a fantastic way to put extra vitamins and minerals into a bait, and also a really good source of protein. So I hope that's some interest to people. Let's move on to the next bit. Okay, one last point before we move on to showing you how we produce our own bait here is just to say that as well as the freezer bait we produce, we now also produce all the range in shelf life bait. Now once upon a time shelf life bait was frowned upon, and rightly so, but as a very good customer of mine who works in one of the biggest food production companies in the country, said to me a couple of months ago, we actually use less in the way of preservatives than they use in ready-made meals. So make of that what you will. And now the bit you've all been waiting for, let's go and see how we make bait. We make all our own bait here in our factory, which is just down the road from Heathrow, and of course we also make all our own base mixes just behind me. So once the baits are rolled, we then steam them. We've been doing this for a very long time because, as most people know these days, steaming a bait or food, as is done in most restaurants these days, retains much more in the way of vitamins and minerals, and as we're trying to produce the best bait we possibly can for the fish's benefits, we've been doing the same with bait. And anybody who's made a bait themselves and boiled it will notice that the soup that's left probably contains most, if not all, of the goodness that you put in that bait in the first place. Ah, nice to get out of there. Anyway, those were some of the reasons we think it's fair to call Moretakes a better bait. I hope you'll agree, and if you'd like to know a bit more about us, you can find us at moretakes.co.uk, where you can also see any offers that we currently have. You can also find us on social media, Twitter, Instagram, and at Jim Rawcliffe's Moretakes Facebook pages. Thanks for watching. See you again soon.